Tucked away in the excitement of the game today was an update to Lonzo Ball that is going to have Lonzo Ball out much longer than expected for his initial 10-day prognosis that he was originally given for that wrist injury. We're going to talk about all and more, but you know what we got to do first? Got to play that intro.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host here, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today. Real quick update episode that I just thought was worthy of its own episode. Didn't want to wait till you guys, or force you guys to wait till the morning to discuss this. And that's Billy Donovan's comments before the game today in regards to Lonzo Ball saying this. The team dodged a bullet with how serious the injury could be, but Lonzo Ball isn't close to a return at this point. Keep in mind, Lonzo Ball was originally given a 10-day prognosis in his potential return back to the Chicago Bulls, which would have put Lonzo Ball returning back here within the next couple of days. But now with how the severity of that wrist injury and where he's at with his healing process, Lonzo Ball is going to be missing seemingly a lot more time with that wrist injury. Originally, he was looking at coming back around November 11th with that Cleveland Cavaliers game or the November 9th game against the Atlanta Hawks. Now that could be pushed out quite a bit. But it seems like Lonzo Ball really dodged the bullet, because when you look at this whole comment from Billy Donovan where he said this, I think we really dodged the bullet because that could have been a fracture that could have been very similar to Patrick Williams' situation. The Patrick Williams situation that he's referring to in that case is the time where Patrick Williams went down for a full season with a injury. So that's what it comes down to. And he says, so the mentality right now is to be aggressive with treatment, but we're going to make sure he's good. This is really disappointing when it comes to Lonzo Ball, just because of everything that Lonzo's had to already overcome when it's come down to making his return to the basketball court. And it's really kind of sad in a lot of ways as well that it's not even Lonzo's knee that's the issue here. It's the wrist. And when you go back to it, Lonzo has been a historically slow healer for injuries over the course of his NBA career. This is even before the major knee surgery that left him out as long as that he did. Now, Billy Donovan did give something with it. He said this: the swelling has gone down. He's still in the brace and splint. It's going to be one of those things where it all depends on how long it takes to heal. I think they're going to be aggressive with the treatment and therapy and cautious to not do anything that will set him back. I think he had mentioned that if he gets going too soon and it's too much too early, that could be a problem. And this just is the history of Lonzo Ball. This is just what we've seen from Lonzo Ball over the course of his career. He suffers injuries. He ends up being out longer than the normal recovery time for injuries. And this is unfortunate. Like I said, more than anything, I'm sure it's frustrating for Lonzo Ball to finally get back on the basketball court after almost 3 years. And then when you do have a setback, it's not even with your knee. It's with your wrist. And it's unfortunate, but he did, like Lonzo even talked about it the day that him being out was announced, saying that if it did turn into a fracture, his season would have been over, but they caught it early. But it seems like he's not healing necessarily at the rate that they were hoping that he was going to heal at. And thus, because of that, he's going to be out for quite a while. And so we don't know how long this is going to go, but especially with it being a risk of a season-ending injury, if they push him too far, I'm glad that they're playing it really safe with Lonzo Ball with this risk, because you don't want to see Lonzo's season come to end and it not even have anything to do with the knee, just due to another injury. So, we'll see how long he ends up being out. It's gonna suck when it comes down to it, man. But he said this as well, as far as with Zach LaVine, saying that they do anticipate Zach LaVine coming back soon, but Lonzo Ball not as promising of a prognosis. And it's really unfortunate. That's just the word that I keep going back to. It just sucks, to be frank, because Lonzo, you hope that he wouldn't have to deal with this again. And we're right back here yet again talking about Lonzo Ball missing some significant time, man. And it really does suck. Last thing I want to hear after this loss, we need to hear motherfucker gone, man. I'm so frustrated. I mean, yeah, it is frustrating. It's very frustrating, but keep in mind, the person that is probably the most frustrating for is for Lonzo Ball because of everything he's already gone through just to get back on the basketball court. But you don't want to risk it, right? And that's one thing that I do like about the Bulls' new medical staff is that they are really kind of they're doing things better in some of the places where the Bulls' former medical staff did things horribly at. Even the fact that they caught it as early as what they did is great, right? Because, like I've said many times, the Bulls training staff literally almost killed Luol Deng. That's not hyperbole. So, the fact that they're being as precautious with him, that they caught something that could have turned into a fracture at the end of the season, they caught it early enough. And, any time that Lonzo Ball misses now at this point is going to be much less than the time he could have caught or missed maybe under the Bulls' former medical staff. So, glass half full view on it when it comes down to that. And we'll see how this thing continues to develop. But hopefully at the end of the day, it heals up. Hopefully he hits a point in his development where that healing starts getting a little bit faster. But like I said, I do want to put the preface out here that Lonzo Ball has always been a slow healer. Always. Always. There's been times where Lonzo could have, missed 20 games where it ended up turning to half the season with his former team. So we'll see how that develops for Lonzo. It sucks talking about another Lonzo Ball injury, but this just comes with the territory at this point, I guess. But just wanted to bring you guys this quick update. I'm done for the night. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to bed. I love you guys, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to follow this podcast, you can do so at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, but that's thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can, y'all. Peace.
Presentation of the Break Media.